Hey, welcome to the channel. It's Jack with Stronghold Strength and Conditioning. And today, I've got a 40-minute full body stretch to help you de-stress after a nice long day of work. But before we get into it, make sure you take a moment and hit that subscribe button so that you don't miss out on future content like this. Every Thursday, I'm putting out videos showing you how to resolve aches and pains, prevent injuries, and overall optimize your performance inside the gym and outside of it in your daily life and routine. And it doesn't get much better than that. So go ahead and jump on it. Ready? Let's dive into this one. All right, we're gonna start on all fours here. We're gonna take it slow as we go, so just breathe and work into each movement, taking your time here. And we're gonna start with some spinal segmentation, tucking the chin to the Adam's apple, rolling the chin to the chest, really pushing the floor away from the arms, and then tucking the tailbone under, flexing the glutes. We wanna max out flexion and then reverse the movement so that we start to go into extension from the lumbar spine, moving all the way back up into the upper back and shoulders, and then up into the neck. We're gonna do about 5 reps here in each direction. Again, working very slow and segmented, just to feel the movement, feel the muscles contracting around it, and take the space that your body will give you with the movement. All right, very good. Next, we're gonna move into a seiza-seated position. So we wanna be butt to heels with our foot flat to the floor, and we're gonna hug ourselves, one arm over top of the other. From this position, we wanna work full flexion with rotation, drawing a U shape with the tip of our elbows out from one side, back to the center, and then circling back around through. So you can make the full circle or even just the U along the outside edge there in flexion, coming around up to the other side, working slowly through that range. Again, trying to take it with rotation and flexion at the same time here. We're gonna do a few reps on each direction, and then we're gonna switch the arm that's on top and do a few more reps, about 3 per direction here. Okay, go ahead and switch that arm that you have on top, and once again, really separating those shoulder blades and making as much of a circle or U shape, really taking that outer edge as much as possible. Okay, from here we're going to go into extension. So we want to reach those arms up overhead. Our knees are planted. We're going to drop our chest and our chin to the floor, so we're looking up there. Now you can go ahead and do this elevated on a surface if you need to, placing the hands up on the arm of the couch or even up against the wall, but the main goal here is to sink the chest through, let the shoulder blades sink into the middle back there, and we want to think of spinning our elbows and forearms down toward the floor so that we keep tension out of our upper trap and top of our shoulder. So the more we can actually rotate the elbow toward the floor, this should send the tension that we're feeling and the resistance here through our triceps and underarm in the back of the armpit there. Alright, very good. Make your way out of it slowly. We're going to still go from all fours here, planting a tripod, and we're going to thread the needle. So we're reaching one arm through, planting the shoulder and the top of the head to the floor, and really trying to separate, making space between the shoulder and the ear on that side. So you might see me wiggling around a little bit. That's me trying to take all the space that I have between my neck and the floor there, trying to almost flatten it out to the ground as I reach through. Now you can start with the arm supporting, or you can move it to the back behind you once you feel a little bit more confident in this position. If that never happens, don't worry about it. Keep the hand in place to help you support some of that weight as you put pressure into this stretch here. Now, one thing we want to focus on throughout this routine is nasal breathing only. So I want you to try and keep your mouth shut the whole time here and simply breathe through your nose in and out as calmly as possible. Shallow breaths, allowing yourself to relax in a nice, quiet way. Alright, now we're going to switch sides here, reaching through the opposite side once again, planting the side of the head there and the shoulder to the floor, and then trying to create space between the two, lengthening out the neck as much as possible, allowing the shoulder blade to sink down and back. Keep that hand in place for support, or put it back behind you, reach around to your pocket on the other side, and allow yourself to open up more. Alright, slowly make your way out of that one. We're going to sit with our toes tucked underneath, butt to heel once again. And if you need, you can place a pillow between your butt and your calves there to help ease this one. Interlace the fingers back behind you. We want to squeeze the shoulder blades down and back together, really hugging the spinal column. And then we're reaching away from our feet, back for the floor, going into full extension. So we want a global extension arch of our spine here. And you'll see me looking up to the ceiling to get extension from the cervical spine, but we also want that through the thoracic and even into the lumbar spine as we reach back there. Start small and work your way up as it feels a little bit more comfortable. You might find that you get a little bit more range of motion. Again, the reach is not directly down here. It is back and down at the same time, reaching the knuckles for the floor as you pull the arms off the back of your body. Very good. Now we're gonna lie down, belly down here, putting the thumb to the floor and then rotating so the opposite leg comes over toward the same side. I'm planting that foot so that it is flat and my knee points toward the ceiling. I can rest my hand on my thigh there, or if I'm having trouble opening up this much, you can go ahead and keep that hand on the ground for support as well, that free hand. What you'll see me doing with the arm that's down to the floor, thumb to floor, is flexing the triceps and releasing it. This is actually going to open up that line of my biceps and open up the chest a little bit more. So a few 5-second flexes and releases can actually help open up that front of the shoulder and give you more range in that position. From there, we're going to switch the arm into a 90-degree position at the elbow. This is going to stretch that chest a little bit further here. Still try and keep yourself close to the floor. Don't let that lift you up too much away from it. And what you can do is, if you feel pressure at the elbow around the forearm there, is play with your hand and wrist a little bit, reaching from the smallest fingers toward the top of your head and trying different circles and motions with that hand depending on the pressure you feel at the forearm. Switching sides, once again starting with the fist made and the thumb to the floor, arm fully stretched out, bringing the opposite leg over so that the foot is down to the ground, the arm is stretching open back behind us. We're again flexing those triceps and releasing after about a 5-second flex for a few reps, and then just settling into the position. Once again, bending the elbow to 90 degrees there and playing with the hand and wrist in this position, keeping yourself supported by the free arm, feeling what feels good, allowing yourself to relax and stretch that chest. All right, slowly make your way out of that one. We're gonna turn to your back here, lying completely flat. We're gonna start by pulling one knee in toward the chest here, working the hip in deep flexion. The other leg we wanna keep fully extended out, straightening and reaching for the wall or whatever's down by your foot there. We're gonna hug in a few seconds here first of all and test the range of motion in this flexion. Keep your shoulder blades rolled down and back to the floor as an anchor. And you can kind of play with that high arch. So think of drawing a half circle with the tip of your knee, testing in toward your center line and out and open a little bit more. From here, we're going to interlace our fingers on the back of our knee, and we're going to keep that hug tight to our chest and straighten the leg as much as possible. And we're starting by driving through the heel with our toes flexed back toward your face. This is going to feel really tight at first. As you do that, just try and focus on your shoulders, rolling down and back, your fingers weighing down the leg, really holding and helping it in there. And then your quadriceps are focused on flexing nice and tight as you go to kick through the heel. So you want to imagine kicking something with your heel, kicking the door down, whatever it might be, using the bottom of that foot, driving through the heel. After a few reps there, we're going to switch to a pointed foot here, a plantar flexed foot. And we want to go ahead and reach through those toes as much as possible. Once again, trying to straighten that leg through the quadriceps as much as you are able to, with that focus of the flex on the top of the thigh. Switching sides here, once again going back to the hug of deep flexion here, keeping the leg that is down fully extended and testing that arch along the top edge of our flexion here for our hip mobility. Go ahead and interlace those fingers on the back of the leg, once again starting with our kicks from the heel first, doing about 5 kicks in that position, really tightly squeezing those quadriceps, and then switching to a pointed foot, plantar flexed foot, where you're reaching the toes to the ceiling, straightening the leg through those quadriceps. Different sensation in the change of the ankle positioning that you're gonna feel in that kick each time. Coming up to seated, we're going to go into a 90-90 sit position, so both knees are bent at 90 degrees, and we're going to interlace our left fingers with our right toes and place the right hand on the right knee. So we have fingers interlaced with the toes on the left hand and the right foot, and then the right hand on the knee. Just start by sitting in this position and settling in. If this is tight, we will stay here the whole time. That's perfectly fine. If you can go deeper, we're going to go ahead and lean over that front leg, letting yourself relax into it, still keeping the fingers interlaced with that opposite side there. So making sure that we're not releasing that grip of the foot, because that actually will help keep us open through the hip in this position. And then from there, we're going to go ahead and return to our position of fingers interlaced, hand on knee, and then we're going to extend the back leg back behind us, reaching with the smallest toes inward toward our center line. You're going to have a little bit of arch at your back here, global extension, so we want to think about pulling the shoulder blades down and back. And in order to get our depth a little bit lower toward the floor, each time I'm going to lift myself up off the floor by driving the outside portion of my front leg into the ground, flexing those glutes, and then as I release, allowing myself to sink further closer to the floor here, reaching that leg back further behind me in this position. So that flex and release can be very powerful to help you gain range of motion and increase your flexibility in positions in general. Okay, release those toes finally and turn toward the back leg. We're going to interlace the right fingers with the left foot this time, and now put the left hand on the left knee. So we are switching sides here and settling into a seated position first. If you are comfortable there, then you can go ahead and take that left hand off the left knee and allow yourself to sink a little bit deeper just by lying over that leg to begin with. right, coming back up, the left hand on the left knee and extending the right leg back behind you, reaching for the smallest toes. Once again, we're going to use that flex of the glutes by driving the outside of that left leg down into the mat using our own strength here, and then releasing that muscle contraction and allowing ourselves to sink deeper and deeper closer to the floor. So flex, release, take the space on the release each time. Turning toward that back leg once again, we're going to come out of that position and into a wide straddle here. Knees at 90 degrees. We want our feet open, and we're really opening up those adductors as much as possible, coming down into a forearm plank position. We're going to do a few rocks from this position. When we lean forward, we're going to flex the glutes. When we lean and rock back, we're going to pull from our hip flexors into the depth, almost like you're doing a squat in this position. So you should feel your abs holding tight the whole time. This might be a little bit of a challenge in that adductor range. Just take what your body will give you and be gentle about it as you do it. Take the room that you can as you sink into the depth each time, and then relief by flexing the glutes coming out of that position. Next, straighten out your right leg, plant the foot if you can here, and we're coming up to our hands nice and tall, rocking to the heel, so you'll feel a big stretch through the hamstrings here, and then rocking forward where we're going to get those adductors once again. So going between seated back, getting those hamstrings to stretch, and then rocking forward, getting those adductors involved. Now taking out that left leg and once again repeating so that we're walking back, stretching out those hamstrings, rolling to the heel, toes to the sky, and then planting the foot once again as we walk forward into that adductor stretch, flexing the glutes, hamstrings and glutes. Okay, from here we're gonna prop the right foot up with our hands in line with the foot, knee planted to start back behind us on the left side here. And we're gonna pick that leg up a few times, flexing the glutes, flexing the quadriceps, straightening through that leg as much as possible. Shoulders down and back, nice strong arms, elbows rotated in toward my body here. We're gonna do a few reps in that position. If you're able to go deeper, you can bring it down to the forearms and do a few more reps in that full depth of that forearm plank, lifting the knee from that back position. After we finish that, we're gonna go ahead and move into a hamstring stretch here. Once again, kind of rocking forward and back. So we're gonna move up to the hands here and rock back, push back into our hips there, straightening the leg, trying to keep the foot planted. So you wanna think of the first metatarsal behind that big toe, staying grounded as we push back, straightening the knee as much as possible, and then also pushing the hands back so that it's helping you rock into that stretch each time. Go ahead and switch sides so that the left leg is out front now, hands in line with the left foot. Once again, beginning by lifting that back knee from the floor, driving that leg straight so that we lock in the glutes, lock in the quads, 3 reps or so there, and then dropping down to the forearms. Lastly, from this position, coming back up to those hands again and pushing the floor away as you rock back toward your back leg, stretching those hamstrings, flexing the quadriceps, and that's where we want to keep our focus, thinking more about the flex of the quadriceps than the tightness of the hamstrings there. Trying to keep that first metatarsal behind your big toe down to the floor and not allow the foot to pick up. That's a challenge. Alright, next we're going to make our way to our back once again and just do a little bit of spinal twist here. So we're going to take one leg over top of the other, turning the hip to the floor, knee to floor with the hand anchoring. I'm going to take a deep breath in while I'm in this position, and then using the hand behind my head, opening and exhaling at the same time, I'm going to twist open. My goal is to try and keep that knee that's on top bent at 90 degrees so that it does not pick up off of the floor or away from the floor much. So I want to keep that knee driving toward the floor. I can even pull it down as I pull myself open from the other shoulder blade in this position, exhaling the air as I rotate. And switching sides, once again, rotating the hip down to the floor, hand behind the head, breathe in, and then exhale the air as you rotate that shoulder to the floor. Our ultimate goal is to feel the shoulder blade completely contacting the floor as much as possible while we keep that knee close to the ground. You can almost think of imagining pinning a yoga block to the floor, and that might help you. Lastly, we're going to work on some neck and shoulders here. So place your right arm under the lumbar spine, left hand on your stomach so that you can feel yourself diaphragmatically breathing. And then we're turning our chin toward our left shoulder so that we're really stretching that right side as much as possible. Relax into this position. Again, nasal breathing only as much as possible here, trying to let yourself settle in. switch sides, placing the left arm underneath the lumbar spine, right hand on the diaphragm so you can feel your belly breathing, and then turn toward the right shoulder, keeping those shoulder blades down and back, pulled to the floor, nasal breathing to relax. Okay, lastly, you're gonna take those hands, rest them both on your belly, keep those shoulder blades down and back, and we're just gonna tuck the chin as tight to the chest as we can, and our lumbar spine as tight to the mat as we can. So we're trying to flatten out basically the curvature of our neck and our lumbar spine both at the same time here, seeing if we can get them both to touch the mat where there is no space left between those two. Separation of the neck from the upper back there, really stretching out that, and separation of those QL muscles, getting the QLs to open up so that the lumbar spine gives way to the abdomen. Go ahead and release and relax to close out. All right, and there you have it. 40 minutes of de-stressing and opening up new range of motion and flexibility that you didn't have when you came into it. If you like this video, make sure you let me know by clicking that big thumbs up down below and take a moment to share this one with a friend. If you're a dad who struggles with chronic stiffness or tightness and you have other aches and injuries that come along with that, low back pain, knee pain, shoulder pain, any of those issues, and you want to improve your mobility in the next 12 weeks, what I want you to do right now is drop down below in the description here and go ahead and fill out the coaching application. We'll get you ready and headed in the right direction to improve that mobility faster than you've ever done before. Not hours of stretching, no long durations, just a little bit of focused work to help you improve where you need it most. So down in the description, go ahead and fill out that coaching application and we will get you headed in the right direction with that. And last but not least, if you have not already, make sure you take a moment and hit that subscribe button so that you don't miss out on future content like this. Every Thursday, I'm putting out videos showing you how to resolve aches and pains, prevent injuries, and overall optimize your performance inside the gym and outside of it in your daily life and routine. And it doesn't get better than that. Welcome to the Stronghold Army. See you next week.